The Curse That Backfired, a tale of jealousy, lies, and spiritual justice. Alex had always been different. He was intuitive, deeply connected to his faith, and carried a light within him that others found both inspiring and intimidating. He had faced hardships before, but nothing could have prepared him for the spiritual battle that was about to unfold. The attack in the shadows. There were people who couldn't stand the way Alex walked through life with strength and purpose. People who had lost themselves to greed, deception, and the allure of power. Among them was Julian, a former judge whose soul had long been tainted by corruption. Alongside Julian was Leela, a woman consumed by jealousy, and Leonard, a man who had traded morality for control. They had tried to destroy Alex in ways he couldn't fathom, manipulating records, spreading lies, and going as far as attempting to steal his identity. They wanted him broken, his reputation tarnished, his faith shattered, but what they didn't realize was that Alex had already walked through the fire of his own past traumas. He had faced his own darkness, battled his demons, and emerged stronger. He had already endured his dark night of the soul, and he had won. Finding faith, finding strength. Rather than allowing their attacks to consume him, Alex turned inward. He dove deeper into his faith, confronting his wounds and healing the broken parts of himself. He understood that this was not just a physical battle, it was a spiritual war. He refused to retaliate with anger or hate. Instead, he prayed. He asked for guidance, for strength, and for divine justice. What happened next was nothing short of miraculous. Every bit of dark magic, every lie, every act of manipulation that had been cast against him began to unravel. Those who had sought to harm him began to feel the weight of their own actions. The spells they had cast returned to them. The deception they had orchestrated fell apart. Everything they had tried to take from Alex was restored tenfold. The fall of the corrupt. Julian, once a powerful figure in the justice system, found herself at the center of an investigation. Her fraudulent dealings were exposed, and her name became synonymous with disgrace. The power she had wielded to control others had now turned against her. Warrants were issued. She tried to fight, to resist, but there was no escaping divine justice. Leela, blinded by envy, had spent years trying to undermine Alex. She had spread lies, stolen from him, and manipulated those around her to turn against him. But when the truth was revealed, she found herself completely alone. The very people she had turned against Alex had now abandoned her. She had chosen darkness, and now she had to live with the consequences. Leonard, desperate to maintain control, had aligned himself with forces beyond his understanding. He had dabbled in rituals, sold his soul for temporary power, and ignored every warning sign to turn back. But the darkness he had called upon had no loyalty. It demanded a price, and it was one he wasn't ready to pay. His health deteriorated, his business collapsed, and he found himself bound in ways he could never escape. A cursed soul, fallen angels, and the devil's grip. Despite Alex's attempts to warn them, despite his prayers that they would turn away from the path they had chosen, they refused. They clung to their corruption, their deceit, their demonic ties, believing they were untouchable. But no one escapes justice forever. The curses they had sent out had returned to them. The lies had become their reality. Their souls were bound, unable to ascend, trapped in a cycle of their own making. They were no longer just people who had done wrong. They had become fallen angels, chained to their own choices. Alex, on the other hand, continued to rise. He had faced the storm, endured the attacks, and found his faith stronger than ever. His relationship with God had deepened, his purpose had become clearer, and the light within him now burned brighter than before. He had won not by fighting fire with fire, but by standing firm in truth, faith, and righteousness. The reckoning, one by one, those who had wronged him faced the consequences of their actions. Some were arrested, some lost everything, some, trapped by their own spiritual choices, found themselves cursed, bound by the very darkness they had once called upon. And Alex, he moved forward, untouched, unshaken, and free. Because when you walk in faith, when you surrender your battles to the divine, no enemy, spiritual or earthly, can ever truly defeat you. The universe had balanced itself, justice had been served,